Hello and welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be going through over 50 books that are on my summer TBR. Now, I said summer TBR in quotes because basically I spend months hoarding, going through lists, looking on Bookstagram, looking on booktok, booktube, all the social media platforms, and I gather basically this mass list for myself of all the genres that I would want to read and books that I own that I should put on them and books that I haven't heard of, new releases, all that stuff. So this is over 50 books because I feel like I am constantly trying to search for like a book that is set in the season or fits the vibe of the season, and then I'm trying to watch summer TBR videos and I can't find ones that I haven't read. So I feel like with 50 books in it, there's gotta be some that you haven't heard of or that you don't have on your list, and that is what I'm hoping for. I am not going to speak on all of these individually, but we are going to discuss some of them. So basically, I'm looking at all my little piles around me. I have a lot of romance. I surprisingly have a lot of fantasy, which I'm really excited about because that was what I wanted to read fantasy a lot last summer and just had no fantasy books to read, which was upsetting because I feel like for me it's kind of this perfect combination of there's not like heavy war, they're not trudging through snow and sludge, like it's pirate books, top tier for summer fantasy, and then ones that just feel a little bit more like The Cruel Prince, kind of like whimsical fairy tale vibe. That's what I'm looking for. That's the fantasy section, and then I have a lot of mystery thrillers. I feel like people really get into mystery thrillers in the summertime, me included, and I like ones that are not set in winter, and I oddly have a lot of those, so I went through and really tried to figure out which ones were summer set or had like a summery feeling to them. And then I have a couple just like generic kind of like lit fit contemporary books. A lot I don't own. Take that with what you will. Let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna start, I have a note down here on my phone, so if you see me looking down a lot, that's what I'm looking at. We're gonna start with fantasy. And so the first one is The Ever King. I feel like I've seen a lot of people talk about it, specifically the Raven-Haired Reader. I feel like really loved the first book. This is a pirate fantasy. That's all I need to know about it. Then we have Darkwater Daughter. This is one of my good friend Deirdre's like favorite books. It is also a pirate fantasy. Again, what more do I need to know? Empire of Exiles. This is giving higher fantasy, pirate fantasy. I know Peru's Project, she really enjoyed this book, I think. Or maybe she just had it on TBR at some point and I was really interested in it. I'm pretty sure she liked it. I love Pirates of the Caribbean. This is why I want to read all these pirate books. I mean, like, what's the pirate book counter up to? 3? Okay, so this is part rec and then part TBR is I need to read the third Bridge Kingdom book. These are all set. They're not pirate books, but they're set in this kind of like island-esque kingdom, and I loved the first two, and they do feel very summery when you read them. Like there's very lush jungle feeling, the water, so I love these. This is the first one that's like a spin-off, so it follows, I think, the main girls. No, it's not the brother. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who this follows, but this follows someone in the spin-off. Okay, first one I can hold up for you is The Adventures, wow, it's reflective, it's from the library. The Adventures of Amina El-Sarafi. I've seen a couple people talk about this one, but this is the same author as The City of Brass, and this is a new trilogy of magic and mayhem on the high seas in this tale of pirates and sorcerers, forbidden artifacts, and ancient mysteries in one woman's determined quest to seize a final chance at glory and write her own legend. Again, the pirate fantasies, tell me there's something more summery than that. You can't. I sat down and this book is up there. I'm not going to get it. Tress of the Emerald Sea. This book is set in like this world where like instead of the ocean, it's like these spores that grow, and she's at sea, I think, so to speak, and I just feel like it's a more summery fantasy. I might be wrong. I haven't read it yet, hence why it's on the summer TBR. My gosh, I sat down and several of them are not down here with me. The Stardust Thief, this one I am very interested in. They like hunt and sell illegal magic, and it's just the concept of stardust to me. Like I don't know if it's set in like a desert, but it's giving that to me. I might be totally off, but The cover is making me think it would be more summery and that it would have like kind of a desert feel. Another one that is just up there and for some reason I did not grab before I sat down is House of Roots and Ruin. I am obsessed with House of Salt and Sorrows. It's one of my favorite books probably of all time. This one has more of a garden feel, so it might be more springy. I might start it and realize that I want to save it for the fall because the first book was like optimal for spooky vibes. Perfect spooky season story, but I'm very interested in this, and I really, if I don't read it before the end of the year, I will cry because I said that last year and I didn't read it, and like I mean it about this year. Like I have to read this soon. I feel as though the garden part of it really gives kind of summer spring vibes. Maybe I'm wrong. Fate of the Sun King. This is the third book in the Trial of the Sun Queen series, which if you haven't read the first two, absolutely get on that. Very good summery setting. It's basically the Selection, but with more deadly aspects of it, and it's very adult. The way they talk is like kind of silly, but I love these books. I don't know why. They're like kind of like crack to me. Like I just start reading them and I'm like, wow, I gotta read this whole thing. So Fate of the Sun King is the third book, and so I am very, very, very ready to read it. I've had it on my Kindle for a while because I got an advanced copy, and have I read it yet? No, but I need to because they're so good. Daughter of the Pirate King. I feel like this is one that a lot of people really love. It's a YA book, and obviously she's the daughter of the Pirate King. People say that it's like female Jack Sparrow, and I think I've said it enough times for you guys to know that I love Pirates of the Caribbean. Another one I've checked out from my library right now. Into the Drowning Deep. I think this is another fantasy set at sea, which again, to me, really leads itself to being summery feeling. Fable, you guessed it, pirate fantasy. I am just so interested. It says, welcome to a world made dangerous by the sea and those who wish to profit from it, where a young girl must find her place in her family while trying to survive in a world built for men. It's at sea. I promise after we're out of the fantasy books, my reason for putting them in the summer category is not just only because they're at sea. But like, what other way can you make a fantasy feel summery? If you know, please let me know. Okay, I think I said Into the Drowning Deep. Nightweaver, I believe this is also set at sea. And that's pretty much all I know about it. Someone says, it's set at sea. I added it to my list. And it's mostly like a mood reading list. Like this is my gigantic books with summer vibes list. That's what it is to me. It's not a true TBR because I will not read 50 something books. Compass Points. This is a fantasy book that is set, or the magic system is based on national parks. Yeah, a romantic fantasy with a world inspired by the United States national parks. And I love the national parks, but one of my favorite times of the year to go see parks is the summer. So I feel like if they go to the wintry ones, it definitely might not feel summery. There's so many good ones that are in like the summer settings. And so I'm very curious. And it's set at a lake, Compass Lake. I'm really excited to read this book. You don't even understand how excited. And then A Crown of Ivy and Glass by Claire Legrand. This one I am going again on mostly vibes. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a wintry fantasy, so I thus feel as though it should be a good summer fantasy. This is the same author as Furyborn. So I really wanted to finish the Furyborn trilogy before I got into this, but alas, I may start reading this just cuz. But I also would love to finish that trilogy. But like, look at the cover. Don't you just feel like that's giving you summer energy? Because I do. We have Compass and Blade, which is also set in the ocean. This world of sea and storm runs deep with bargains and blood. She is a wrecker, one of the 7 on the rope who swim out to shipwrecks to plunder them. It's giving summer fantasy energy. I mean, what more can I tell you? Promise of Peridot, I felt like the first book was a very light fantasy, and a lot of the times in the summer, I feel like that's what I'm looking for. Very heavy romantasy, less heavy fantasy, if that makes sense. And I'm very interested to see if I feel like this one would be good seasonally, because I really felt like the first one was very seasonally appropriate as like a light summer fantasy read. I don't ever want to read fantasies at the beach, but I feel like a romantasy that can give major beach vibes. And the first one I think I would have totally read at the beach. So I'll be curious to see about this one. Plus I enjoyed the first one a lot. It was very easy. And then the last one for the fantasy category is the Bow Before the Elf Queen series. This is the latest book. I'm obsessed with these. No one talks about them. No one. These are like my Roman Empire fae fantasy books. Like if you like A Court of Thorns and Roses, you should try the Bow Before the Elf Queen series. They're just elves instead of fae. And they're literally, it's the same thing. They're just hot, tall people with pointy ears. And this is the most recent one, and I haven't gotten to it, and I've been really upset about it because it's one of my favorite series, and I should have read this the day it came in my mailbox. But yeah, if you want to start in this series, the first book is Bow Before the Elf Queen. Let me know if you guys want me to do a video of like my book recommendations, like my top recs. I've never filmed one of those for YouTube, I don't think. And I feel like I've got some recs and favorites that aren't super popular that I feel like I should talk about more, but I don't, and I don't know why. My videos, I guess, just don't lend themselves to talking about books that I've read that I'm not currently reading, I guess. But I am really excited to read this one. What category should we do next? Let's do thrillers. I lied to you because a lot of the thrillers are just like set at the beach. I'm so sorry. The first one is The Last One by Will Dean. It's kind of giving me The Woman in Cabin 10 vibes, but it's set on a boat. I think on a cruise ship. Let me double check. But I've not seen anyone talk about this, and I remember having it on my radar for like when it released. I really don't think I've seen anyone talk about it. It's on Kindle Unlimited too. Yeah, so it's set on a cruise ship and this woman wakes up and finds out that no one's on the ship but her. I personally think that sounds really intriguing. I don't know why I haven't seen anyone talk about it. Okay, Only Survivors. This one's been on my list, I feel like, for like a million summers in a row, even though I feel like, did it only come out last year? Maybe it came out 2 years ago. But it's set in the Outer Banks, and it's this group I think that repeatedly goes on vacation because they survived something together, but I might be making that up. The Outer Banks makes me then think of the show The Outer Banks. This is how my brain works, and thus I feel as though, because the show makes me think of summer, this book should give me summer vibes. I told you, the logic is not like 100% there, but it's there enough. I also have The Fury by Alex Michaelides. I'm not saying that one right for sure. But this one is it's set during Easter, but it's on a Greek island. So I felt like this one's good for spring or summer. It makes me think a lot about the movie Glass Onion from Knives Out. I haven't read any books by this author, so I'll be curious to see if I like it. Also, I feel like perfect for the summer is all the Finley Donovan books. I've read the first one. I need to read, like the next 4. But this is a mom who is an author and somehow gets wrapped up into basically accidentally being hired to kill these like mafia men. And they're silly. They just make you giggle. You're invited. I've not been a member of Book of the Month in a while, so the fact that I have so many unread Book of the Month books is really telling as to why I should have stopped my subscription sooner. But this says, what could be worse than your ex-boyfriend marrying your childhood best friend, getting accused of her murder? And I believe this is set at a overtop wedding in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka. I'm not saying that right. Or is it my nasalness that's making me sound awful? Anyways, wedding set on a fun destination, murder, all the recipe for a good, quick fantasy read. No, thriller. Holy cow, maybe I should have taken a nap. Every time I go on vacation, someone dies. This girl is, I think, a murder mystery author, maybe just an author in general, but she's writing about this guy in her life, and she wants to kill them off. The person the character is based off of, there's like an attempt on a murder on him. I don't think he's actually murdered. This just seems funny, kind of like Finley, and I love that kind of mystery, because sometimes I feel like they get a little too heavy for me, and then I'm troubled. The Golden Spoon, this is basically the Great British Bake Off meets Clue, and it's just a murder mystery that happens on a British baking show. It just feels light and interesting, and I've just heard that it's like a quick, fun little read, and so I thought it'd be fun. I feel like I have other Riley Sager books, but the one I really want to read this summer is The Only One Left. I think this is the one that's set on like a remote lake house. Oh no, I think that's The House Across the Lake that I'm thinking of. I really want to read this. I've liked a lot of Riley Sager books that I've read so far, but I don't think I own House Across the Lake, but if I read this one, I may go ahead and pick that one up. The Soulmate, this one, this couple lives near this cliff where a lot of people kind of jump, and not for good reasons. Normally her husband goes out there and like talks people off the ledge until one day that he doesn't. It's supposed to be, answering those questions. I just feel like this is just a thriller that's good at any point of the year, but I'm really curious. I've had this one for a while. This is a bunch of books, but I just feel like the Naturals books are just really easy and quick and fun. So I feel like they're really good for summer. I've read the first one. This is the second one. And I just feel like these have a good, like, read it at the pool, read it outside kind of vibe. And I really loved the first one, and I just need to read the rest. Errands and Espionage, giving the same kind of vibes to me as like Finley Donovan. It's a mom who kind of looks like this agent who's been murdered, and they need her to essentially pretend to be this FBI agent that has died. Just feels fun, silly, Who knows? Those go one of two ways. Like, they're either hilarious or they're terrible. And then last in this category, we have Nosy Neighbors, which totally makes me think of Only Murders in the Building. It's a 77-year-old and a 25-year-old who team up to try to save their building, and then someone plays dirty and one of the residents is viciously taken down, and the police give up too quickly, but these two amateur sleuths are trying to restore peace in their community. I just think again, I'm really into like the kind of funny mysteries. Some are not good, but when they are good, like Finley Donovan, I love. We're moving into romance. I feel like I'm getting stuffier the longer I talk in these videos. The first one is in A Not So Perfect World. The main character is a video game developer, which I think is really cool. And her hot neighbor invites her on an all-inclusive trip to Turks and Caicos, but he needs her to pretend to be his girlfriend. So it's kind of making me think of the Unhoneymooners, but maybe with like a different vibes. But I'm really interested in this. I've meant to pick this one up several times and I haven't. Roughest Draft and Do I Know You? These are by like the couple authors. They're a husband-wife duo, I think. I have wanted to read The Roughest Draft for a while because I feel like people have compared these to Emily Henry books, but maybe I'm making that up. I don't know, because I know several people do not care for this book, but I also know a lot of people really love it. So I'm not sure, but whenever a book has that like very like they love it or hate it, there's no like middle ground in reviews, I'm always very curious and I want to read it for myself. So I really would love to read at least one of these. If I'm only going to read one, I'd like to read The Roughest Draft, but both of these are on my TBR. The Layover, I've had this on my Kindle for literally I think 3 years now. It is like haters to lovers and their coworkers, I think, and I can't remember if they're sent on a work trip. Regardless, I love that setting. I've had it on my Kindle for way too long, so I just need to read it and stop holding on to it. One Last Shot. This is set, I think, in Italy. Yeah, Cinque Terre, Italy, which I went to when I was in high school when we lived in Europe. Fun fact about me, if you didn't know that. I am Duolingo. I'm Duolingo. I am bilingual. I do speak German. I lived in Germany for 4 or 5 years, somewhere in there. She is Second Chance Romance. She's a supermodel and he is a fashion photographer, and they reconnect after all these years apart. So I am a huge fan of Second Chance Romance. So it's a big selling point for me personally. I know a lot of people don't like it. It's my jam. Girl Abroad, Elle Kennedy book that is giving me the vibes of New Girl. She goes overseas for, I think, a semester abroad, summer abroad, I'm not sure. She's going abroad and she gets to the flat and finds out, oh no, she's doing a year abroad, that all of her flatmates are boys. And I love New Girl. It's probably my favorite show. I don't know. It or Gossip Girl. Those are my top two, I think, for sure. And so I'm just very interested in this one, and I've had it for a little while. And I just feel like New Girl, you can watch it any time of the year and it's great. And so I just felt like anything that gives me New Girl vibes would probably feel like a comfort read kind of thing. The Good Girl Complex, also by Elle Kennedy. Yet another book by Elle Kennedy that I've had for a long time that I've not gotten around to. And it is set in like a little coastal beach town. I need to read this. I've had it for too long. And if I don't like it, I don't have to read the other ones. What is this hair doing? Okay, weird. While we're on an Elle Kennedy kick, let me show you the third one, The Dixon Rule, which is a hockey romance, but it's during the summer. It's during the summer. I love hockey romances. So this is part of the Campus Diaries series, which the first one followed the daughter of the main character from the Off-Campus series, Garrett Graham. Savor It. I've had this one on my Kindle for a while because I got an advanced copy of it and everyone's been raving about it, and I think it's set in like wine country. Maybe I made that up, but everyone has said it's so good, and I've seen some quotes on Instagram and I need to read it. It looks so good. It looks so summery and fun. The Breakup Vacation. I've not seen anyone talk about this, and I see it every time I go in Target and Barnes & Noble, and I really want to read it, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I look at it and I want to read it, and all I know is I think this girl gets dumped and her friends take her on this vacation that maybe she was supposed to go on with her boyfriend, maybe not, I don't know. But it kind of makes me think of Sex and the City, like the description with the honeymoon kind of thing. But like a breakup. I can't remember if she sees an ex or like the ex, or if she just sees someone that reminds him of the ex, something like that. And I just feel like, maybe the cover is what's sucking me in, but I want to read it. I don't know why, but I do. The rom-commers, I've got to read this. I read, what is it? The Bodyguard. I don't have, Hello Stranger? Is that what it's called? I haven't read that one and I don't own it. but I have an advanced copy of the rom-commers on my Kindle, and I haven't read it, and I just feel like it's gonna be like a perfect little beach summery read. This summer will be different. I'm sure you've seen plenty of people read this. I am in Every Summer After. Is that her first book? If that book has no haters, then I am dead. I do not like that book. Don't like it at all. And then I did not hear good things about the second one, so I just didn't read it. So I will try this one because I've heard the vibes are immaculate and it's better. And so I'm hoping this redeems Curly Fortune's books for me. But it's set at, holy cow, Prince Edward Island? Is that it? I feel like I'm saying that wrong. That's not right. Is it? It's in Canada. It makes me think of like Canada's Nantucket, basically. Crossroads by Devney Perry. I also would like to keep reading Indigo Ridge's books. I've read the first one. I'd like to keep traipsing through those. This, I feel like I've seen a bunch of people talking about it on TikTok. It sounds really good to me. Ooh, I also think it's Second Chance Romance. I should do a vlog where I just read Second Chance Romance because that's how much I love it. I could do that and I wouldn't get tired of it. I have unfortunately not read Nora Goes Off Script, and I have the second book by Annabelle Monaghan. I don't know if these are interconnected. They might be. And I know the third one just came out, and these are short and fun, sweet looking. So I really want to read this. I know it gives a lot of people Emily Henry vibes, and I'm a big M. Hen fan. The American Roommate Experiment. I'm okay. The American Roommate Experience. The American Roommate Experiment. I love The Spanish Love Deception. I know that is like a divisive book. It has its haters. I don't care. I am a lover. I just really want to read this one. I've got a bunch of Elena Armas books that I want to read, and I just love The Spanish Love Deception. So I would like to read this one. I think it's set, she's a romance writer. She lives in New York, and her apartment, I think something happens to it. And so she heads to her friend's apartment, and except there's a guy who's already staying there. If you've not read The Spanish Love Deception, I am personally a big advocate for that book. A lot like Adios. I personally have not watched telenovelas, but I have seen Jane the Virgin, and I know there's a lot of telenovela talk and aspects in that show, and I really enjoyed it. I read You Had Me at Hola, which is two characters who are, the two main characters are co-workers on a telenovela, I believe. And I loved it. It was so fun and like had like some spice and some heat, and it was a good time. And it just felt so, I don't even want to say tropical. It was just so good. And I've had the second one forever and I haven't read it. And I think the third one's probably out by now. I don't know what it's called, but even it has a blurb by Emily Henry. A charming, sexy spitfire of a novel. These are just fun. If you haven't read You Had Me at Hola, I also really love that book. Like, it's not a no plot, just vibes, but it is heavy on the vibes. I also would really like to read Float. I think this book is a Wattpad book, and I'm just curious. I'm sorry, I'm like just sprawled out here because my hips are killing me. But I think this is a Wattpad book, but it has like a lot of hype around it. I think Grandma's waking up. No, I want to finish the romance section. He's been taking really long naps. I really thought he would nap a little longer than this. But obviously it gives to me summer vibes. The cover is literally, it's giving summer. I would like to read this book. I've had it on my Kindle list. I have like a list on Amazon of like books that are on Kindle Unlimited that I want to read. It's called Safe Harbor. I think there's 3 in the series now, and it's called the Scoop series because I believe our main character works at an ice cream shop, which I think is just very cute and summery. And I think they're all set in the summer, but I might be wrong. It's a young adult romance featuring the intensity of 2 people falling in love for the first time, a pack of fiercely loving coworkers that feel like family, and a small town that has an obsession for festivals, fireworks, bonfires, and 32 delicious flavors of ice cream. I think it's supposed to give like Gilmore Girls vibes. I found the author on Instagram, and I have had it on my list for a while. Still many, many more romances. Not many, it's like maybe 10. But one last word. This girl has an app that sends a text message to everyone you add to it after you pass away. But a different person with the founder's name passes away, and so it triggers all of her messages to send. I'm just so intrigued by this concept, and it sounds fun. I don't think there's anything inherently summery about it, but it's just one that sounds really funny to me. Maybe it's set in like California. I honestly can't tell. One last word. The setup, my husband bought me this, I think last summer before we moved. Of course, there's my hair on it. but this girl lives on as a fortune teller, but then she like pretends to be someone else to like win over this guy. And I think she's set at like a resort that's closing. It also has a blurb by Emily Henry. It says, exactly the kind of summer read I'm constantly on the hunt for. I love, love, love Lizzie Dent. If you loved One Last Stop, Book Lovers, or Schitt's Creek, you'll want this book. I think it's interesting that it's set at like a vacation resort. Okay, The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary. I have like 3 books by Beth O'Leary. One way or another, I've acquired them and I've read none of them. But this one is about 2 friends who I think had a big fight, and now they're driving together to get to this friend's wedding in rural Scotland. A road trip, to me, feels like it could give really good summer vibes. The Royals Next Door. This girl, title's pretty self-explanatory. She has some royals move in next door, and the security guard thinks that maybe she could be trouble, and I think, yes, the broody security guard decides she's a security threat. That's what the back of the book says. But I think it's about a romance between her and the prince, which just seems kind of like fun and silly and almost like a Hallmark movie for the summer, which like I know they make those, but you know what I mean. Okay, this one I think will feel kind of random, but it's Along for the Ride by Sarah Dessen. I know this became a movie, I think. Yeah, a Netflix original. I loved Sarah Dessen books when I was in high school. Like I read probably all of them, and this one I remember being my favorite, and I can remember one scene, but I do not remember what the bulk of the book is about. I'm sorry, I have the hiccups. And so I got this before the movie came out because I wanted to reread it and then watch the movie. So hopefully maybe I can do that this summer. I would like to read All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. I have not read a Mariana Zapata book. I DNF'd. I don't know if it's a permanent one or not. Holy cow, what's the football one everyone's obsessed with? The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. But yeah, so I DNF'd that one. I didn't care for it. And this one I've heard really fun things about, but I've also heard really fun things about The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. But it has like hiking. I've seen one scene on TikTok out of context that made me feel like maybe this had summery vibes, but I would like to try another one of her books, and this is the one I have selected to try. Things We Hide from the Light. I'm sure you've seen Things We Never Got Over. Is that the right one? I feel like I've said the wrong one. Yeah, Things We Never Got Over is the first one. I really like these, and they're on Kindle Unlimited. Well, I like the first one, and I just feel like this is a good one to just read kind of whenever on my Kindle, so I would like to read these. The small town feel, I feel like, always gives kind of a summery vibe. Adam and Evie's Matchmaking Tour. These are 2 people who don't really want to fall in love, and they end up falling in love via a sweeping matchmaking tour. No, they embark on a sweeping matchmaking tour through Vietnam, and it says it's perfect for readers of Carly Fortune and Abby Jimenez, and I love Abby Jimenez. So also, I've said this in my other video, but like the cover of this book, top tier to me. I think just 2 more in romance, and then we're gonna do lit fic and then we're done. But Summer Island, this one I'm very interested in. This is a mother-daughter road trip to the beach and to self-discovery, and I feel like those ones are really fun. Maybe this is not romance. Maybe I should have put this with lit fic. Yikes, my bad. But I do think this is just lit fic, so I'm a liar. But I'm very interested in this one, and I read like the first page of it. I was very interested, but I love a book set on an island. And then the last one is One Last Summer, and this is set at like a summer camp. I think that's closing down maybe, and I do believe this is second chance romance. Need I say more? But also the cover is really fun. Again, shocker, I love the covers. Okay, that's it for romance, even though there was technically like a lit fic thrown in there. But so let's quickly do the lit fics, and then we'll be done. Okay, I feel like the American Royal series is a really good one for summer. It's, you know, America that's set in, I don't know if it's the future at this point. Is it right now? I think it's present day, but we have a monarchy instead of a presidency. And I read the first one and really liked it. These feel like really good read by the pool books, and so I just feel like the second one is a good one for me to put on my radar for the summer. But if you haven't read the first one, you definitely should. They're very fun. The first one is, at least. Some people seem to have mixed reviews on this one. And then this one I think is maybe more magical realism than lit fic, but this is a story about childhood stories, families lost and found, and how fragrance conjures memories capable of shaping the course of our lives. I'm really curious about it, and I've heard really good things, and it just sounds like something that I'd really like, because I feel like it has a little bit of magical realism, because she has her dad has this machine that creates these mysterious scents that are stored in glass bottles that line the walls of their cabin. She lives on this kind of like reclusive island and then goes out into like the real world. So very interested. I loved spell Dolls for Forgetting by Adrienne Young, so I wonder if this kind of gives the same-esque vibes. I'll be curious. I really want to read Summer Sisters by Judy Blume. I was a big Judy Blume reader when I was probably in like elementary school, middle school. And then I did not know that Judy Blume wrote like adult women's books. I totally missed that. But this book got like a recover and now it's kind of popping up everywhere, and I saw it and thought, ooh, that looks kind of fun. I'm just really curious about it. So it's on my radar for the summer. Also on my radar for the summer is A Perfect Vintage. I thought about reading this last summer. It's set at like a French villa, I think, and it just sounds very transportive and atmospheric. So I'm very interested in it. I haven't heard the best things about it, but I am still curious enough that I may pick it up. I have mentioned this before, but I'd like to read another Kristen Hanna, and I was waiting to read Firefly Lane until the summer. I've had this copy, y'all, for a while. It was given to me used. I think my mom or someone got it from a little free library, and then they told me I would like it, so they gave it to me. I know this one I think is mostly about like friendship. Fireflies just totally make me think of summer. So if this isn't very summery, that would be a little bit sad. And then last but not least in this category, we have pretty much every Ellen Hilderbrand book. I wasn't sure what category to really put these in. I read one while I was on my beach trip. I read The Blue Bistro. I really enjoyed it. It made me want to pick up a book I started many summers ago and then unhauled because I didn't think I'd ever want to read it. And I don't know if I've ever unhauled a book and then decided I did want to read it, but I will now probably be picking it up from a used bookstore because I've seen like 20 copies of it, never used bookstore. But that is Sweet Bitter. It's set in this like busy restaurant setting. It also kind of made me want to watch the show The Bear because it's all set in this restaurant and like the high intensity of like having an upscale restaurant. Regardless, I don't really know what category to put Ellen Hildebrand's books in, but I have 2 more checked out from the library, 28 Summers and 5 Star Weekend. So I'd love to read a couple more of her books because I really enjoyed The Blue Bistro. So I just feel like Ellen Hildebrand books are really, I mean, they're like the summer books. It's sad that she's not going to be doing any more of her Nantucket books. Anyways, that is my gigantic summer TBR. So I hope you found a book on there that you didn't know was gonna give you summery vibes. I'm sure you've read some of them, so let me know which ones you guys think I should prioritize, or if you have any like you really want to see me read in a reading vlog, or if you have any reading vlog-esque ideas. I would love to hear them. But thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time.
Open my eyes, I slept through the day. Slept through the day, feeling uneasy, I push it away. Push it away. Last night was fun, don't feel like today. Feel like today, let's do it again.